Well, apart from yourself, there's a lot of high-profile criminal attorneys out there. There's Drew Finley, who I've interviewed before, aka the $1 billion lawyer. He's representing Little Dirk right now, an NBA young boy, as well as YFN Lucci. There's Brian Steele, who just got Young Thug off. There's Alex Spiro, represents Jay-Z. Steve Sadow, represented Gunna and now Trump. Bradford Cohen, who represents Kodak Black and represented Lil Wayne, who got both of them, the pardons from Donald Trump. You yourself, if you caught a gun charge, who would you have represent you right now if you could pick from any lawyer out there?
Well, I'll just cite Foxy Brown's song. When Foxy Brown was hit with a gun charge way back about 15 years ago, she put a rap together, and it was one of the best rap songs of all time, perhaps, because she said, then they try to hit me with a Nina, which is a 9mm. I ain't worried because I hired Tacopina. So that happens to be, I think, one of the greatest rap songs of all time. So I don't know. I'm just going to go with Foxy. I'm just going to go wherever Foxy thinks she should go. So, they're all great. I'm kidding. They're all great lawyers. So look, it's about, I would hire somebody who cares about me like I was their family, which I do. Alex Rodriguez said that to the New York Times. I remember recently he said, he treats you like family. He never mails it in, and I don't. I take it very personally. Meek Miller said that, and YG recently got him. The fun of YG's thing was funny. In the middle of this Rocky trial, I got YG's case dismissed down the block. So I had two cases bouncing at once. But look, we're all those names you mentioned are all phenomenal lawyers. You can't go wrong anywhere. It's just a matter of just making sure you have someone who cares, who doesn't mail it in, and is not afraid to fight, because a lot of lawyers don't, they don't want to take on the system, so to speak. They don't want to. I have no fear, and I think that comes from the Brownsville thing. But I have no fear, as you saw in this trial here. If I had to go blow to blow with some prosecutor who was a bully and a blowhard, I had no problem doing that, no problem at all. And you have to be able to. You have to be able to stand up. And then, of course, you need talent, you need intelligence, you need experience. And so any of those lawyers you just mentioned would be fine. Anyone, all top-notch people, for sure.
Well, I remember when I interviewed Boosie, who had worked with Drew Finley before, and he said that at the time, Drew charged about $300,000 to take on a major case. And I remember Drew called me afterwards, was like, man, that was my old prices. I don't charge that anymore. Don't put that out there. Everyone was mad in the office. How much does it cost to get you to represent a major case right now?
A lot. And not because of the Rocky, result. It was that way before, because I take only, when I take a case, it's not a case, it's a cause. And when we take it, my partner Chad Siegel and I have been together 24 years, it's full immersion. It's like literally, I was on trial Rocky's case, the whole office relocated to Los Angeles, not just me. The whole office, we shut down, everything else is gone. I had new clients coming in during that time. I said, sorry, can't do it, sent them away. It's full immersion, so we charge accordingly. I'm a boutique firm. I have 5 lawyers, paralegal, executive assistants, and stuff like that, and then we bring in people as we need. But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a case. I mean, Rocky paid, and Rocky's I love Rocky, and it's like family. He paid a lot of money, and that's it. But it's for what they get. It's for what they get, because if I and all those names are great names, so I'm not saying I wouldn't hire them either. But if I could hire me, if I was in a fight for my life, I would want me to represent me, because I know what I'll give. I don't sleep. There will not be a stone unturned. And I have abilities when it comes to communicating to juries, and I have abilities on cross-examination that I don't think there's anyone better. And I'm not being cocky. There are other great lawyers out there. You just mentioned a bunch. Cross-examination is where I've sort of taken it to a different level. And my cross-examinations are devastating. And even the judge in this case had made that point when he said, my gosh, there's nothing left for this witness. There's no meat left on the bones. But it comes with the preparation. Look, I do have a sixth sense, and you have to have that thing where you smell blood. But it's also for every hour, Vlad, that I'm in a courtroom doing a cross, we're prepping 25 for 1 hour. 25 for 1 hour. So if I do a 6-hour cross, do the math there. That's a lot of time, and that's why I don't ever wing it. I don't get up there and just start, isn't it true? Liar, liar, pants on fire. I don't do that. The cross-examination is the easiest part of the trial for me. And here's what I mean by that. It's the most confrontational part. It's the high-stakes part. But by the time I stand up to do the cross, the work is done. And I know what the answers are going to be. So I can either get the answers the easy way, where I say this, this, and this. Isn't it true you did this on that date? Yes. Okay. Or, isn't it true you did this on that date? No. I don't recall, or no, I didn't. Really? Boom. Then we go into what's called impeachment. Every question I ask, I know the answer to. And if I don't get the answer I want, I have where I'm going to get it from. So there's a source. If I could show you a cross outline of mine, it's like, it's a chart. And there's not a question I will ask in cross-examination that I don't have the answer in my hand, ready to go. If I don't get the answer I want, I'll get the answer I want. And that's the skill. And Larry Posner is just amazing lawyer who I learned from as a young lawyer, who was really an academic. He was a great trial lawyer. He's sort of semi-retired, living in Hawaii right now. Lucky him. But he wrote this book called Science of Cross-Examination, because it's not an art, it's a science. And he really gave me the methodology to cross-examine it in a foolproof way. So I've never sat down in a cross-examination going, damn it, that guy got the best of me. Just has never happened. And I'm not being cocky, I'm just being factual. That comes with insane amount of hard work and preparation.
Well, let me ask the question a different way. One of my lawyers right now, she charges $950 an hour. Mm-hmm. What is your hourly rate as the principal in your law firm?
$2,400 an hour.
How much?
$2,400 an hour.
$2,400 an hour. Hey, congratulations for getting it. Congratulations. Well earned.
I've had people say I can't swing it, and it's fine. I have other lawyers I refer them to, who are really great lawyers. But the level of demand I'm at now, and what I get for that, what I give for that is blood. I give blood for it. It's not this. It really is. And then, but again, and by the way, that's the number. Now, if someone comes in and they, I just happen to love them, and I feel for them, and I feel like they're being victimized, and I feel like the system is running roughshod over them, and they can't afford that, I will always try and work something out. Always. If I'm representing a police sergeant right now in Yonkers, okay? A police sergeant who is a 26-year veteran of the force, who doesn't have a blemish, not a disciplinary complaint against him. You know how hard that is, Vlad, to be a police officer 26 years and not have anything? His son was a cop. His son was victimized by a perp who was carjacking, was high on drugs, and really hurt the cop and did all these horrible things. And he got a call off the radio, thought his son was in critical condition. And he responded as a father and a cop. And he chased the guy brake checked him. He had a carjacked car, and he stopped, and his head hit the windshield. And finally, when they went to take him down, he used reasonable force. He punched and gave a few kicks. Guy didn't die or anything, but it was reasonable force according to the guidelines. He got indicted. He's never had a problem before. The guy who carjacked the car, robbed people, tried to kill cops, started out with a felony indictment, was offered a misdemeanor and no jail time. I mean, we are so out of whack in this system sometimes. So that's a guy that is not paying $2,400 an hour, Vlad. He's just not. He's a police sergeant. And, I appreciate law enforcement. I'm not a defense attorney who thinks law enforcement is the problem or they're the enemy. They're not. I'm a former law enforcement officer myself. I have a lot of relatives who are cops. And when I put it this way, when I represent a cop in front of a jury, I remind the jury of something. I said, you and I go to work every day. Vlad, you go to work, you hope you have good reviews, good ratings, you have a great show. I go to work every day, I hope I have a successful day in court, or I make money or whatever. A guy who owns a restaurant hopes he has a lot of sales that day. A cop goes to work every day and hopes that they come home. Try and let that swivel around your brain for a little bit. Walk in those shoes for a minute. And I think that's something that you have to, appreciate. I know cops are being really condemned. And look, the bad cops are the bad cops, and there are bad apples in every walk of life. When you're a cop, it's even worse because you are entrusted with protecting the society and protecting our community, and you have power. So when you abuse that power, it's horrific. But on the other hand, not everyone does.
Well, that's what it is. Joe Tacopina, appreciate you coming in, and congrats on that ASAP Rocky win. I'll be honest, a lot of people did not think you're going to pull this off. A lot of people thought that
I don't read comments,
this was crazy to even, forego this plea deal. Most of my guests who I had on my show all said Rocky should have taken the plea deal. I would have taken the plea deal. But you actually stood firm, and you got not guilty on 2 counts, on top of all the other work that you did over the years. So congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, Vlad. I appreciate you. Big fan of yours, and I appreciate you having me on here.
That's what it is. Until next time. Peace.